Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kylie and I am an aspiring astrophysicist, and on this channel I basically share with y'all about the various things I learn about, going through academia and such. And so today I'm going to be telling y'all about the graduate school application timeline. So I had to basically figure this all out as kind of a first generation post college person, and so I'll be sharing and teaching y'all so that I can share the knowledge that I gained. Yeah, so let's jump right into it. I'll share my screen. I made a spreadsheet. And there are these 4 years: freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year of college. So let's discuss the various things you should do during these years to prepare for graduate school apps. We can highlight these in colors so that we can have them be headings. Okay, so freshman year. What is something you should do during freshman year? So during freshman year, you should really be deciding for yourself if you want to go to grad school. So decide if, I guess, there's any possibility of you going to grad school. Because really you need to do a lot of prep work to go into grad school. And so if there's any possibility that you might go into grad school, you should figure that out in your freshman year. Okay. And so if this is a yes, then you should start looking for research opportunities. And, I kind of took research in undergrad as, I guess, a way to search within the field of astronomy what exactly I wanted to do. Because, in astronomy, there are tons of different things you can do. You could study stars, planets, galaxies, neutron stars, etc. Lots of different things. And so I wanted to get a taste of lots of different aspects of astronomy. And I did that through research in undergrad. So I started that in my freshman year. So we can take a look. Okay, so those are the two things you should do. Next, we have sophomore year. All right, so in sophomore year, you should really be actively doing research. So seriously, begin research if you haven't started yet. Okay, other things that the graduate app will require are like these statements, these like personal statements that often have to do with your leadership and research, or not research, leadership and outreach opportunities. So you should start to actually do those things and get a sense of, those aspects of the app during sophomore year. So maybe, let's see, try to begin some leadership and outreach experiences. Opportunities or just experiences. Yeah. And as well, it's always good to, I guess, get various experiences, not just at your university. So in academia, there are these things called REUs, research experience for undergrads, I think. And REUs are research experiences. Oh, sorry, it's my cat. Give me just a sec. Sorry, there was another cat that came in here and was messing with my cat, so I shooed the other cat away. Anyway, okay, so research experience for undergrads, yes. So a lot of universities will have these, and these are basically advertised to students at other universities to come to that university to experience research at it. So it's kind of like an exchange for a short period of time. So REUs could be most of the time, they're during the summer, but there are some that are, during the semester, I think. So usually you'll try for it during the summer. So, should apply for REUs in the fall. Maybe, yeah, okay. Of course, there are other unique opportunities you could go for, not just research, but if you want to do research and do grad school, then REUs are definitely a good opportunity. All right, junior year. Okay. By now, you should try to have a publication. By now, you should try to have a publication. Doesn't necessarily have to be first author. It's always good if it's first author, but just having a publication underneath your belt is a good thing. So that means you should be doing lots of research by now. Okay, and then working obviously towards another if you are doing research. So try and have multiple publications. Research never really stops. It's always a grind. Okay, so you'll want to continue the leadership and outreach that you were doing before in sophomore year. And again, you'll apply for REUs in the fall. Okay, so this is also the time to kind of prepare and take the GRE if you are required. So I should put that. I personally didn't have to use the GRE, so but for, I don't know, other programs that I didn't apply to, or programs you may apply to, you may need the GRE. So this is the time to prepare and take the GRE. Okay, if needed. Yep. Okay. Now comes senior year. Okay, and senior year is when lots of stuff happens. So the summer before your senior year, you should nail down which schools you want to apply to and also which fellowships. So let's take a look at this. Summer before senior year, decide which universities and fellowships you will apply to. Okay, so you'll want to apply to about 10 grad schools. And as many fellowships as you are eligible. Okay, so this is how it works in astronomy. I don't know how it works in other sciences, but in astronomy, a lot of the grad school programs will fund you. So I'll fund you to be a grad student there for anywhere from 5 to 7 years. It'll vary between the programs. What this means is that you may need to be a TA during that time, or what's called an RA. So an RA is a research assistant, TA is teaching assistant. So if you're a TA, you'll be helping to teach some of the classes that they have. If you're an RA, you are technically funded by the university, but really it's like funding from a professor. So if a professor has funding, they'll fund you, but the university, I think, will pay you. And they'll fund you to do research with them. So it's like basically making it so you don't have to teach. But not all professors will have funding. So that's where the TA comes in. And it can be kind of a hassle to ask if they have funding or to try and, TA during the semester. And so that's where fellowships come in. So even if you do get into a grad program, it becomes, it might be a hassle to deal with money. And so fellowships, not only are they prestigious and look good on your resume, they also provide you funding that is often more than the university will give you. And so that's why you should apply to as many as you are eligible for. A lot of them will have different criteria for eligibility, like maybe if you're a minority or if you are a first-gen student, or your parents are immigrants or something like that. So there are various different criteria, but try to search for and apply to as many as possible. I applied to, I applied to the NSF one, NSF GRFP, the Ford Fellowship, Hertz, and the GFSD. So I applied to 4 fellowships, but I also applied to a few other just minor scholarships, and I also applied to Fulbright, which is not the subject, I think, of this video. So I applied to Fulbright Japan, but that is a completely separate thing you should consider outside of this. That's not really a relevant fellowship. So specifically for this video, yes, look for fellowships that you're eligible for and try and apply to as many as you can. It can be kind of overwhelming with how many applications you're dealing with, but do tend to note that a lot of the fellowships will have deadlines that are earlier than grad schools. So kind of prioritize fellowships. So I'll write that down. Prioritize fellowships as well, we'll have earlier deadlines. Let's see. Early mid-fall. Okay. For grad schools, we'll have deadlines late fall/winter. Okay. Also, we need to know that you will need recommendation letters from the professors you did research with. And they will need to write a lot of them because you're applying to a lot of things. So you want to let them know very early. So let's say, let's see, notify your rec letter writers. Let's see, early fall, basically start of the semester. So that they know that they will have to be writing for you many, many letters. And I'm sure if you've done research with them and you have a good relationship with them, they'll be happy to do it for you. But, they need that time to actually, do those things for you. So make sure you notify them ahead of time. Okay, that'll also give them time to write good letters for you. Yes. Okay, so you've notified your rec letter writers, and they know about that. You've been doing your applications and all that. Make sure you give your space things out. Don't procrastinate because you have so many apps. And so you're doing all of that. And you've submitted your fellowships, you've submitted your grad school apps. What else should you be doing? After this, especially in astronomy, since it's a small field, what you should be doing is contacting professors that you're interested in working with at those universities that you've applied to. Let me write that down. Contact professors you're interested in working with at the universities you've applied to. Especially in astronomy programs, I think, this is my personal opinion, a little tea, if you may will. Personally, I think that these programs highly prioritize the students that are already connected with professors and, say so in their applications, but also are in contact with them. So for example, I have direct evidence from my Northwestern interview. So I applied to Northwestern and I got interviewed by a professor that I had written in my application that I wanted to work with. It was just a one-on-one interview, which was really strange because all of my other interviews were with a group. But anyway, besides the point, I was in this interview, and basically what his responses to my questions implied was that professors in the astronomy department at Northwestern had slots that they could recommend to the committee and admissions committee. So basically, if you had an in with a professor, you had a much greater chance to get into the program because of the slots that the professors had to recommend students. And so forming those relationships early on is really valuable. So I tried to do this. This is something I wish I did more. So I tried to do this with a few universities, some of the UCs and stuff that I applied to. I applied to 10 schools, so there were a lot. I cold emailed maybe 5 professors, maybe less. Can't remember, but yeah, I should have done more. But I cold emailed some and I had very minimal success. So I had a response from I think one of the professors I cold emailed, and he basically told me, don't just contact me if you get into the program, kind of thing. So he wasn't willing to establish a relationship early on, which was unfortunate, but I do have this belief, just because of the Northwestern interview, that it's extremely beneficial to form these relationships if you can. So cold email as many professors as you can, and maybe bump those emails too. I should have done that. So do the things that I didn't do, learn from me. And try your best to form early relationships, even if you don't end up going to that place, because it will, I think, definitely boost your odds of getting into the program. So, it's always good to have decisions instead of just getting into one place. And so definitely try and do that for sure. Okay, so we've said contact professors you're interested in working with at the universities you've applied to. Okay, so this is in the winter-ish, right? After you've applied. So let's put that. Okay, in the winter. Make sure you do it like early winter. We'll specify. Early winter, because you want to do it before the admissions committees start to really get into applications. So, make sure you get on it, like, as soon as you can, maybe even during when you're doing the apps. But it's also a lot of work. Like my senior fall last semester was really terrible for me, really stressful. So just make sure that, you don't overwork yourself. Yep. Okay, so now what happens? You should be hearing back from grad programs in the spring. Okay. The deadline for astronomy grad programs is April 15th. I don't know what it is for other STEM subjects, but because the deadline is April 15th for astronomy, generally you'll tend to hear back in like March-ish. And so if you haven't heard back in March, you can kind of assume that it's like a no. There were 3 schools who I was waiting to hear back from after March, and they were all like rejections. And so yeah, because the deadline is April 15th, and grad programs have these things called visits, where you'll go to the program and like meet the grad students, meet the professors in person, see the department buildings in person, see what it's like working there, living in the area. Because of that, there needs to be time to schedule those, to fly you in, to experience those things. So, just thinking about logically, if there's no time to do that, there's most likely they don't really want you there. So kind of assume that if you haven't heard back like by March, then you haven't gotten in. So yeah. Okay, so what else should I put on here? I should put like expect to hear back by March for astronomy. Deadline, decision deadline. Decision deadline is April 15th. Go on grad visits or grad school visits. These are fun. I'll probably make another video about what mine were like. I went on 2. One was virtual, one was in person. I'll probably make another video on that. But for now, we won't touch on it too much. Yeah, so you'll go on grad school visits and then make your decision in early April. Yay. Okay, you'll make your decision in early April and then move in, work on moving arrangements and stuff in the summer. So over the summer, you'll try and, figure out some way to move to wherever you are. So it's a very quick process, really quick turnover, especially since your senior year is full of a lot of stuff that has to do with grad school stuff. Yeah, okay. So this is the general timeline. So let's kind of, let's make this a little bit more comprehensive. Okay, so freshman year, we have these things, sophomore year. So let's kind of color code these and sort it by the time period. So we have freshman year is simple. Sophomore year is also simple. Junior year, we'll kind of separate it. Okay, so those 2 things are things you should constantly be doing, but, oh, never mind. Okay, these are both in the fall as well. So now let's kind of like sort through the senior year stuff you have to do. So in the summer before, so this is the summer before, so we'll kind of give subheadings. Okay, so summer before. We'll put this. Okay, and then we'll put some notes below it. We'll actually kind of make this more concise. Okay, so in the fall, we'll put apply to, we'll do early fall. Early fall. First, notify professors or notify rec letter writers. Also, you want to prioritize fellowship apps. Okay, mid-fall. Work on grad school apps, finish up fellowship apps. Late fall, early winter. Oops. Finish grad school apps. Then we also want to start contacting potential professors as well. And then late fall, late winter, spring, or we'll just put spring. Expect to hear back from grad schools. My visits were like Marchish, so March, go on grad school visits. We'll do early mid-March, early mid-March. And then we have April. Make your decision. We don't need this anymore. And then summer, after, move to grad school. All right, so I've broken this down into a more concrete timeline. Okay, let's go through the whole thing as a review. Okay, so freshman year, you're going to want to ask yourself, is there any possibility that I'm going to go to grad school? If the answer is even a slight yes, start to look for research. Look for research opportunities. I started to look for research in my freshman fall and got an opportunity my freshman spring, which didn't end up working out because the professor like basically ghosted me. And so I started freshman summer instead. But as long as you are looking for opportunities and trying to start as soon as possible, that's good. Okay, sophomore year. Sophomore year. If you haven't started research by now, you need to start research. Obviously, if you decide by now that you don't want to do grad school at all, you don't need to. But if there's still an inkling inside, start to do research. If you started in freshman year, try and stay with the same professor or group that you were working with before until you get a paper. Usually it takes, in my experience, about like a few semesters to get a paper, like 3, a summer and 2 semesters or 3 semesters or something like that to get a paper out. So stay consistently with a group until you get a paper. Also, I said here as well, make sure that you're looking for leadership and outreach opportunities, experiences that you can write about on your essays in your grad and fellowship apps. They'll really want that. So make sure you start to do that. Also apply for REUs and other unique opportunities that are also very valuable in your apps and your resumes and just, you know, your research experiences in general, for sure. Junior year, by now you should try and have a publication. You know, are obviously working towards more. I had 2 publications by the time I applied to grad school, but it was a very slim timeline. Like I got my second publication right as I was almost like submitting some of my fellowship apps. So make sure, or not make sure, but try to have publications by then. Obviously continue the research, or not the research, the leadership and outreach programs and opportunities that you started before. You can obviously apply for more REUs, and also ask or look into if you need to take the GRE. Maybe if you aren't sure if you need to, try and take it just in case. Yeah, that would be my advice. Okay, senior year. This is when it starts to get complicated. The summer before senior year, so summer during your junior year, make sure you decide which universities and fellowships you will apply to. Make a list, look at the stuff they need, make sure you have all the things you need. Early fall, make sure you notify your rec letters early, rec letter writers. Prioritize the fellowship apps because they're often due earlier. Obviously, if they're not, you don't need to, but obviously just look at the deadlines yourself. Don't follow this exactly. If there are grad schools that are due earlier, do those too. Prioritize those. So prioritize the early deadlines. Mid-fall are when a lot of fellowships are due. So, get those done and obviously start to work on your grad school apps. And then late fall, early winter, finish up all of your applications because they're generally due. Start to contact those professors you're interested in at those universities you just applied to. Bug them, as much as you reasonably can to try and form some sort of relationship with them. And in the spring, then you'll hear back. So it'll be kind of a tense period of a few months, 2 or 3 months, but then you'll hear back. And, obviously, if you're like me, it will be a sad time of a lot of rejections, but hopefully you'll have at least a couple acceptances. I got 2 out of the 10 I applied to. And then early mid-March, you'll go on some visits to see what the program's like, try and have fun during those, and then you'll make your final decision and then prepare to move. Yeah, exciting. All right, I hope this was helpful, and I'll see y'all around on my channel some other time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.